Welcome back to the Western Utah Desert. This is the third episode in this expedition, and so far, it's been filled with incredible landscapes, spectacular sunsets, and bitter cold. Thankfully, it's not been without some of its comforts to help offset somewhat miserable conditions, like this steaming hot spring, propane campfire, and my sometimes questionable diesel heater. While cold weather camping can be miserable at times, the complete solitude it offers makes this foray into the snow-covered wilderness well worth the occasional numb extremities. Today, I've emerged from my toasty, heated tent to brave the sub-freezing temperatures yet again, but I've got just the perfect solution in mind to help stay warm this morning. All right, well, good morning, folks. It's a glorious day here in western Utah. Trying to get into the desert to find some warmer temps and maybe less snow. No such luck, but it's absolutely beautiful. And not quite as cold as it would be up in the mountains. So I'm enjoying the heck out of it. This morning, it is time. It is time to make a very special breakfast. You've seen this once before on the channel. This is my first time making it myself, though, so anything could happen. I'm starving, though. Let's get this going. But first, coffee. And I have to say, after only 4 or 5 trips of using this MSR, I miss my jet boil. I would go jet boil on this, to be honest with you. It's just not as high a quality. I've already got rust spots down in this and on the burner. It does the job. It's fast. I'll give it that. But there's no igniter, so you have to have something like this. Just not a stellar configuration, in my opinion. This is what I look forward to when I go to bed at night. All right, on to another cold weather secret weapon. And for this, we're issuing an old-fashioned SOS. Oh, and I don't mean a Morse code distress signal. Today, SOS is code for something else. Look at that. We're just going to use half today, though. Save that for tomorrow. So this one goes out to my mom. She's the one that put me onto this. She's made this on special occasions while I was growing up. And if you don't know what this is called, it's called shit on a shingle. This was a fast and easy meal that the military used back in the World War II and Korean War era, from my understanding, maybe even longer before that. It's also been used with hamburger meat, but the corned beef is where it's at. We're just gonna crispify this a little bit and then get our gravy going. Now, fair warning, this is my first time making this, and I'm only working from memory on this recipe. I know gravy making can be as sacred as some religions to many people, so please don't take offense to my process here. But feel free to share your own tips in the comments below, because even my wife Sarah cringed while watching me edit this part. But you know what? It still thickened up nicely and smelled just like those childhood memories. The real question though, will it taste like a pleasant memory from the past, or something more akin to its acronym? I did some research and found that SOS first made its official appearance in a 1910 recipe book for Army cooks. The goal in those days was something that was filling, but also made with shelf-stable ingredients that could withstand long encampments in the field. So things like evaporated milk, lard, dried chipped beef, and flour were perfect for this meal. This savory mixture was then served on toast, or a shingle, as it was so lovingly named by the soldiers. And while the official name may be a turnoff or downright offense to some, this breakfast has a special place in my heart because of the memories and people surrounding it, not to mention the fact, when done right, it is very delicious. Top that off with a little bit of pepper. And that's how you make on a shingle. Good memories in this one. Thank you, Mama, for putting me on this one. Nailed it. Can't watch me do this. I'm gonna eat and then we'll get on trail. Yeah. Alright, well, we are on the trail again, headed north. But first I had to clear off a bunch of blockage from all the ice and mud buildup. I'd hoped that it'd warm up enough today to knock some of that stuff off, because if you're ever traveling in conditions like this, it'll build up so bad that when you go to turn, you can't turn. Your wheels are going to be locked either straight or mostly straight. So it's not a bad idea to check that from time to time if you're traveling some nasty roads. Generally just in snow, no big deal, but this muddy, slushy, icy mixture that we're running on top of, it can accumulate pretty quick. And by the way, that breakfast, maybe it's not so much the flavor or the content, but sometimes when you have a meal where you have special memories tied to them, and with me it was my papaw. You know, that's kind of where it came from. He was in the Korean War, fought not just on the front lines, he was in an outpost, and you know, he came back telling the stories of that, and just the time spent with him, and funny enough, just the connection of shit on a shingle you wouldn't think would be, you know, emotional tie, but it is. I think it's interesting that we as humans associate smells and food and stuff to times and places with people that we love. But yeah, it's nice to spend a minute this morning and think about that. As we've often discovered along our travels, sometimes the most interesting part about the trail we're on is the history of the people who first forged it. Those who cut a path through the wilderness and linked small patches of new settlements back to established towns and cities as America expanded westward. Today, I find myself traveling along just such a route called the Central Overland Trail, which was established in 1855 by Howard Egan, who began driving cattle between Salt Lake and California. Wonder how deep that is. And by the way, it's starting to melt. So the cool part, no pun intended, about traveling in this weather is the fact that you get to see any geothermal activity. And I'm driving along, and there's steam coming up off the horizon over there. So sure enough, more hot springs over there. Can you use them? I don't know. Looking on the map, it shows that they're on military land, but visually from the road, I don't know. There's a bunch of signs over there right on the edge, but somebody's bermed off the road driving out there, so I'm not gonna push my luck. Moving on, but wow, this place is cool. This new trail saved 280 miles over the old California Trail, and it was soon being used by settlers, stagecoaches, and eventually some of the most iconic Western legends in U.S. history, the intrepid riders of the Pony Express. Those boys used to ride this route to deliver the mail. Such a crazy story. And here, old Silver is just casually moping along this path. Now we can touch a button and send an email in a matter of seconds. It's just wild. Today, you can still see remnants of this ingenious express mail system spanning roughly 1,900 miles from Missouri to California, with outposts spread 5 to 25 miles apart along its length. This allowed fresh horse swaps for the tireless riders who rode at breakneck speeds for up to 100 miles in a single day. Now I've got to confess, the little boy inside me was giddy at having stumbled across this Pony Express route, because I spent many evenings in the early 90s watching a show called The Young Riders. It definitely brought back some wistful childhood desire to live back in that time and been a part of such an incredible endeavor. It gives me chills to think that I was finally riding along the very stretch of trail I had dreamed about as a kid in my own trusty steed named Silver. Although I was about 160 years late to the party, it was still a pretty special moment for that 10-year-old part of me. Now, if I could just find some wild Mustangs, this part of my Wild West fantasy would be complete. Sadly, the Pony Express came to a quick end when 18 months after the delivery of their first saddlebag of mail, a new technology sealed their fate when the transcontinental telegram system was completed, linking the East Coast to the West Coast, far faster than anyone on horseback could ever ride. As you can imagine, there's a lot more to this story of pure grit and determination by a collection of young boys mounted on ponies than I have time to tell here. But if you ever get the chance to retrace their hoofprints in western Utah, I bet you too will find yourself lost in imagination of what it would have been like back then. How's it going? Thought so. What you got there, girl? What you got there? You got you a new baby? I hear it. Kind of a rough time of the year to be dropping a fresh calf, but they're more hardy than what you think, too. I'm gonna go ahead and move away, though. She was getting a little nervous. Let her get back to licking it and cleaning it up. What a great day if you're gonna be born during this time of year. Nice sunny day to be born. Well, and just like that, the snow was gone. Roads are dry. I think this mountain range must kick it off for this little town. This is a cool little spot. There's some modern houses, but for the most part, there are some old log cabins, old log houses in here. Some of them that are being lived in, some of them that are going by the wayside, but that's a cool little town. This was expected weather. This was the expected terrain. So maybe we're getting into a little more drier situation. We'll see. Starting to spit a little snow. It's downright balmy now. That's a quick change. Man, those mountains are so pretty. You can literally see the snow line. It just changes right there. And that's not an altitude change. That's just geographical change. That's crazy. Looks like a decent camping spot too, but that's enticing. Well, that might be the end of the road. Yeah, it's starting to get a little sketchy. These drifts. If I knew what was under here, I might try it, but I don't. I will be back though. That looks like a cool trail. All kinds of mining stuff too. There's like some structures right there. One of those things by myself. I'm gonna play it safe because I definitely don't want to get sideways up in here with nothing to winch off of either, really. I think we'll play it safe and go back to that camp spot right down the hill here. Man, look at that. What a spectacular evening. Oh man, I needed a camera in every direction. Just so much going on with the snow blowing over this peak behind me, and then there were just traces of sunlight dancing all across the valley and hitting the mountains and turning pink, and it was a good balance of trying to film a few things but also just trying to soak it up too, because these are the moments that we pursue. These views, these experiences. It's just amazing. Now, while I am still decently full from that massive breakfast, it is time to eat some dinner because I know I'll be hungry again in a minute. So, just trying to decide what to make. I'm going to dig in here and see what I got. I really can't gush enough about this setup. I've been so pleased with its functionality, portability, to be able to cook and stay warm while you're out here doing this. Now in the summertime, yeah, not so much. But for wintertime camping, it's been awesome. Wind is not going to play nice. Have to hurry this up. Definitely want to use these guys up before they go bad. Just hope that wind doesn't get up on us. That's the main thing right now. I'm not going to eat all this tonight, but It'll be available for breakfast or an on-the-road snack. Come on. A lot of food. Real fast, actually. And the Ziploc. Let me just pull that guy out. This guy goes off too. And fire. Hey, thank you guys so much for riding along with me today. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please like and share and do all those YouTubey things, but if you've been around for a while and you enjoy what we do and you find value in it, I'd appreciate it if you joined us over at lso.link/support. That's what keeps this channel going. It's folks like you that allow us to do this without having to chase sponsorships and promote products and all that kind of stuff. We just get to tell our story because of you guys. So if you want to be a part of that, there's a lot of fun bonuses that come along with it too. So we'd appreciate it if you joined us over on Patreon at lso.link/support. Till next time, remember, stay curious and leave it better than you found it. This.